in what they're ingesting. And I actually we won't talk about food today because I want to make sure we cover everything we want to, but I'm really curious about humidity cycles and moisture. And I know I think you kind of loop that into the parameter of what they ingest. And I think this is a topic that in general, the trade doesn't really explore too much. We kind of just take your one humidity reading, and somebody went out to the location and took a humidity reading in the middle of the day, and then they said that's what this species needs to be kept at 70%, and we just go from there. But it is so much more complicated and almost exciting than that. So maybe we can just jump into it from there.
Yeah, for sure. Humidity is one of the subjects that really baffles me. We just don't know enough about the levels of humidity and how these animals use it in the wild state per species. And then, as you say, you get arbitrary readings day and night, and they can help us as keepers. Oh, well, it needs to be 80% in the day and 40% at night. Really? That's really not how it happens. Humidity goes up at night as the earth cools. Ah, right, okay. And, well, we don't need this crash between 40% or 60%. What we have to have is slow curves up and down. And actually, if we now that we know, I mean, particularly with Peter Netches's work in chameleons, that guy has opened my eyes in a way that I'd never really thought to the importance of the humidity cycles and how the earth can almost desiccate during the day and become a spa at night. And for these animals, that can, alongside ingestion of food, that can be almost their entire method of collecting water, or topping up the water that they've collected during the day simply by breathing it in. And it running, there's lots of different reptiles, and I've said it in all of my books, where they'll use capillary action to draw collected moisture over the body into the mouth. And so I think I'm really starting to get a little bit jumpy when I start seeing people posting about, oh, well, this chameleon should have this percentage of humidity, and this bearded dragon should have this percentage of humidity. Well, why? Where are you measuring it? How are you measuring it? How accurate is that tool that you're using to measure it? And what's your cycle during the day? Because really what you should be doing is having a really deep substrate, 3 to 12 inches, really. This is what will regulate your humidity. You might think I'm crazy, but it's the earth that regulates our humidity. So really deep substrate, plant it, decorate it, do whatever you want. Use your heating during the day and lighting to provide for the needs of that animal as it would in the day, and the enclosure, or the top layer of the enclosure, will start to dry off just as it does in nature. We just talk about bearded dragons. Think about bearded dragons for the moment. Then actually, because we're in a closed environment and we don't have clouds or weather rollover or instant showers or anything like that, as you turn your heating off to drop down from your daytime to your nighttime temperature, you're better then to lightly spray your enclosure so that you maintain a below the surface level, high level of humidity, not wetness, but humid in the soil. And as the enclosure starts to cool down, hot air will rise, and that will carry water with it, and your humidity will rise just like it does in the wild. And that animal will have a almost instant positive effect in its skin health, and it will be breathing in moisture and all the minerals that moisture contains as well, naturally. Now, we kind of have to be careful. We always have to think these are closed environments. How effective is our system? Is our bioactive system fully functioning, or are we just allowing a humidity spike at night that is bacteria laden and we're going to end up with RI? No. So we need to keep in our minds these are closed loops. We have to be the weather. We have to be the sun. We have to be the providers of food. We have to maintain and alter that system to keep a herpetological nirvana. That's what we have to do. Now, that may mean that we install powered fans to aid us, or better ventilation systems to aid us circulate air and keep bacterial bloom and molds low. but we will need to step in, and we'll see a benefit of stepping in for allowing these humidity cycles from drying to becoming wet again through the days and then through the seasons. How are we going to do that? Just like we did all those years ago, starting to look at UV, we can use weather channels. We can use the reports of keepers that want to go to these environments for their holidays and report back, well, actually, we found that, it got really, really quite sticky during the late afternoon, actually, and it carried on getting wetter and wetter, but by the morning it had dried. These are the kind of information that can really help us. And, is this just advanced keeping, or is there a use to this? Is this something that clever people want to tinker with because they've got the ability to now? Or is this going to show a welfare increase in your animal? Providing the correct quantity and quality of water to any species on Earth in the correct way, so the method of collecting that water that they have developed to use will definitely show a marked improvement of welfare against an animal that's dehydrated.
Yeah, totally. And
or over desiccating.
Yeah, one of the I think it's in your second book or your third book where you talk about water and moisture and hydration and everything, and you actually mentioned that shedding is not really a low humidity problem, it's a dehydration problem. And every time people just say, oh, it's going to shed, I'll just spray my snake down. If you are having shedding problems, it's not the fact that you didn't have humidity. Humidity is related to it, but your snake is dehydrated. You need to get more moisture into its body.
That's right. So in most cases, shedding issues are nutritional. Now, when you start to think back to the 3 parameters of overall nutrition, if you can get those right, your shedding issues will go away, because it's either a problem with energy going in, it's a core ingestible nutritional imbalance, or it is an external factor, humidity, or even as we get into the kind of expanding on the subject of enrichment, not having the correct type of decoration within the enclosure to allow the animal to slough properly. So everything can kind of pull back into those 3 parameters. As long as we can tick those off, then we know that we're doing our best at every opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm very excited to see where airflow, humidity, and all those things are going to go, because it's very new in a lot of ways. And I've really only worked on it with one of my animals, and Bill Strand's podcast has helped me out a lot with understanding how to spike humidity in the evening and make sure you have really good airflow. And it's bizarre to see, like, my day gecko really only drinks in the morning or in the evening. I don't see her drink a lot anymore, where before I would mist in the day and she would just like go crazy to drink water, and you realize, wow, she's actually dehydrated. These animals don't drink in the daytime in the wild, really.
Well, they don't need to. Mm-hmm. And why would they? It would just increase their risk of predation.
Exactly. Yeah, they wait till the night. Yeah, it's interesting. So let's jump into the third one, because that's the one we really want to talk about. And so this is mental and physical enrichment. And you've kind of broken this into sort of 5 areas. Yeah. So maybe we can go through those.
Yes. So